Yo, Diddy did it. He did it, bro.
He did it, bro. Okay, so welcome. Listen, today there is another problem.
Oh shit. What?
Another co-host has gone away. Now it's only me.
Unfortunate circumstance. Unfortunate circumstance.
And for the next hour and a half, we will be accommodated by our next co-host, P. Diddy.
You know what I'm saying? Keep that baby on, babies. Hey! You better keep it loose, my boy. Keep it loose. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Hey, yo.
Do you have something to tell?
Hey, yo. You know, baby girls, you better keep that loop, you know.
You can go and testify now. He's in.
Oh, hell. Oh, hell.
If he has done something to you, you can go and.
How did he get the money, you know?
Oh, God.
You know, tough times out here, you know. You gotta do what you gotta do.
Goddamn.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Streets are cold. Streets are cold. Oh, yeah. Oh, shit.
I got you.
All right. Cheers. You know, halal, keep it halal, you know, with the drinks. With it. The beer is rolling. Yeah, we'll get you.
Hey, welcome everybody back. Today, Opinion Outlaws, once again.
Once again.
Why
that sounded kind of like you were disappointed that we got here again.
Once again, no, it's not. It's not disappointed.
He said once again.
Again and again.
One more time.
And again.
Yes, sir.
Back to back.
Back to back.
Welcome back, everybody. Opinion Outlaws. The only thing that you're gonna say is you're gonna say that. And from the last episode, I think we don't need to be introducing anymore. Like, what's your name? What's my name? Where we come from? What do we do? We are men. Last episode, we were talking about therapy. And not only last episode, but last 3 episodes.
Pretty much, because we kind of like extended it into like shorter bits.
Yeah.
Well, there were the other reasons why we did that, but you know, much easier to digest overall.
Yeah. Yes, sir. And I'm gonna start off with this. I met Pyry yesterday.
Oh. You gonna snitch on him or on live TV, bro?
No.
That's crazy.
I'll just say what we had in mind. Basically, with him we talked about like how was it after the fact that he left, and he said this, that it was kind of surprising for him that it was to him it felt the episode was very heavy.
Which one?
The first one that we did, that we introduced that there is no Pyry anymore.
Yeah, we straight shots.
Like he said he was a little bit surprised that we took it as okay, this was a big thing.
Okay.
To him, and I said that yeah, it was a big thing because
especially to you.
Yeah, we were with you from the beginning, and then. It's not that easy to find, like I mentioned before, it's not that easy to find a host that can do this in the same level that we do, on all aspects.
Find the time and pretty much have guts to be in front of camera and, you know, put out your opinions and your face and so on. So, you know, there's a lot of, like we mentioned, or did we mention in that first episode when we did it as duo, that there's like a lot of good candidates that could like fill out Pyry's position. Yeah. But, you know, not a lot of them have the guts to be in front of the camera in that sense. And for, you know, other proper, you know, reasons as well.
Yeah. So, segue from this that we talked about to the segue that we will talk about today.
Ooh.
And actually, it was your idea. So
hey, yo, you gonna drive the bus again on me?
I'm not driving the bus. I'm driving the bus. I'm taking the break. I'm saying, hey, buddy, let's hop in.
So yeah, we talked about the episode that we're gonna do after the previous one because we were like, oh yeah, we haven't made any new episodes. So what should we talk about this episode? And somehow, while I had that brain fog moment, I suggested, what would it be like that if we segue from the therapy part to more of a adapt to a change? Because I feel like that's very hot take right now, in a sense of we are having constant change, even in our group right now. That we're not trying to drag this thing to like multiple episodes, but as we have noticed that the dynamic of the host has changed. We have somebody has left, somebody has come, so on, so on. There has been a lot of change during the whole different seasons, and not just overall like change of just people, but overall everything around us. Economy, world, people, relationship, finances, whatever it is. But change overall, as you get it. And I was like, okay, let's talk about the change, and also on top of it, if we have proper time, we could also talk about like how to adapt to the change and how to work through it. Because I can bet that there's a lot of us who do not like change in that sense. Because as human beings and as a social beings, we like things that are very pattern-like in a sense that we're familiar with. So constant change is kind of something that some people might feel off with, and that can create some type of anxiousness to some people. That's why the breakup that we had also kind of created a little bit of a hollow feeling, because we were kind of so used to having person around and automatic and so on. So we had to adapt to the different change. So that's why I picked this subject, and my homeboy Idal was like, oh yeah, I see what you're talking about. We're picking that up, and here we are. So we chose that as a topic we're gonna converse about.
Oh yeah, converse
about. And yeah, so I will, as a startway or as an opener, I would say, what type of, when I say change or overall, like when we talk about change, what do you think about first of all? When somebody says like how, for example, well, how would I say? Man, I gotta cut this.
English, motherfucker.
Hey, it's tough out here.
My bad. Yeah, it's not easy to do this thing,
It's not easy because your thoughts are running different speed than what your mouth is, and trying to, how would I say, translate certain words to English might have its own technical issues. But yeah, I would say like this.
All right.
How do you feel about change?
Great question. And should I just take also?
Yeah.
Now I'm going.
Therapeutic moment.
Well, okay, bit is over. Okay, how do I feel about change?
Yeah.
Good question. I feel that every time something changes, it's a test of your character. This is how I see it. For a good, for a bad, or indifferent. If the change is that you are getting fired from your job, it's a test of character. If a change is that you get a new job, it's a test of character. If a change is that there is a new group coming in your job, they will do the still same project, they will do the still same work, so it's indifferent to the change, actual change. It's still a test of character. What I mean by that with the test of character is that if something changes in your life, are you willing to change something in you that is needed for that moment or for that change? Or are you willing that even if the change happens, let's say you get fired from your job, you will not dwell on it like it's the end of the world. So it's a test of character. That's what I'm trying to say. Now, I believe that change is a big part of life. It's absolute. From a very few things that we have absolute in this world. Death, change are constant absolutes, that there are no discussions that will it happen or not. Change will happen. And I believe that change it's not always good, but for the majority of time it is good.
Okay, and to that part, I would ask like, where the good comes off in it. Like, is it that you get something out of the change, or does it do something to you? Because like I mentioned before, change in a lot of times creates that the change in pattern. Because let's say you were used to like taking certain route, and let's say that route was mingled or fondled with or whatever, something was done to it, and now you have to take a different route. How does that make it better in a sense?
Great question. Oh, you're giving me a good questions right now. I see you.
I was trying something.
I see you. Okay, so you took an example that the route.
Yeah, let's say you have always gone from A to B, and that has been your most efficient way, and you have done it like multiple times, and you're so used to it. You do it kind of like routinely, and now something has happened. For like, let's say construction happened in that road, and now you have to take route C to get to the B place. How is that good?
For me, I see it as when you choose that you go from A to B, and that's your way, you kind of put yourself in this autopilot mode where you don't think. You are not in the present. You're not in the moment. You are thinking maybe completely different things, 100 different things. You forget that you're still a being living in the moment right now. So for the past 3 years, I have taken this road from point A to point B. No question, no arguments, nothing. I have got it, bro. But then I wake up one day and I see somebody said, you know what? This is too good of a route. I'ma destroy it. Construction is going there. And I'm forced to take a different path. Now, when I take a different path, it will signal me different things. It will stimulate me in a different way. Maybe it's uncomfortable, maybe it's intriguing. It depends on the person. For me, it's intriguing because now I get to experience different path, which stimulates me in a different way, which breaks me from the pattern, which makes me to be in the present moment.
And you know why I also asked that? Because same way as you have to take a different route, you get to explore new things. That's the first thing.
Yes, sir.
You get to do something that you are not necessarily used to.
Yeah.
And great thing about change is what? Adaptability.
Yeah.
That you get to adapt to things.
Yeah. And I'm gonna be even more honest. How do you know what you like if you don't explore it?
What do you mean by that?
I'm talking about the routes, for example. What you mean by that? Gay is gay.
Wait, what?
Anyway,
Wait, what?
Who said that?
Wait.
Who said that?
Hold on, I wasn't even thinking about Hold on. You know, what you mean by that? What you mean by that?
I didn't say nothing.
Oh, yo. Based on what you got on your Tinder, bro, you can't be telling me none
I
of
don't
that.
have Tinder like that.
You can't be telling me, no, none of that, man.
I don't have Tinder like that.
But you said...
Why I said is that to explore, if you have taken always that same route, but then you choose a different route and you like this route, or you don't like it, you then know. And then if the construction is done and now this route is still open to you, you know for a fact that do you like to take that route or you don't like to take that route. You don't like it, you don't take it. So you always take this from point A to point B.
But the main idea of it is for you to experience something out of norm or out of something that you're so used to.
So tell us.
Oh shit.
No. Tell me.
Tell us what you want to know.
I want to know this. Actually, I want you to. Okay, not actually tell it. Don't tell the story, but when you say to experience something new.
Oh no.
You were with somebody somewhere, and then someone else made a move on you that was very questionable, and you experienced it in a very profound manner. Can I say it like this? Cut.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. What you trying to say, bro? What you trying
All
to
I'm saying.
putting me on the spot like that?
All
What you
I'm
trying to
saying.
say?
All I'm saying is that you know what I am talking about. That you get to experience different things. You get to explore it. You get to know which is good, which is bad for you. And you had a point about this, not the story that I mentioned, but before that.
Oh well, I wouldn't necessarily dive too deep into that part yet, at least. But I'm kind of getting what you're heading at. But let's say you're used to certain hypothetical someone for, let's say you've been with one person all your life, and you've that's all you've known. How would you know if that's the best that you could get or have or whatever, right? Somewhere like that. Like, well, that department kind of goes off.
I was not talking about that. I was talking about the different. No, not that.
I was
Because
like, he's trying to put me in a blast.
not like
no,
that.
He's gonna cancel my whole.
No, that's a stupid argument because it's the same thing. I'ma maybe piss off somebody, but I don't really care.
Oh,
When you have a pet, a dog. Listen, listen. If you have a pet, a dog, for example, or a cat, you can always say that there is better cat or a better dog, but you don't change it just because there are better pet. You are with that pet because that pet is special to you. That bond that you have is special to you.
yeah, I know. I was about to. You know what I was about to say? Yeah, you have kids. There's better kids out there too. It don't mean that you just yeet your kid away.
Like Spartans.
hold on.
But you kind of get my point.
I get your point.
That there is always somebody better.
Of course. Okay, well, specify more. What were you trying to ask? So,
About the bar situation that you had.
Which one?
The guy that was a little bit.
Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. Skip. I don't do that, no.
The story,
we don't swing that way.
The story will be somewhere later to be told, but it's still fresh.
We don't swing that way, man.
It's still fresh.
Hell. So. Actually, the thing I wanted to ask you about the change was, has there been any recent changes in your life other than the co-host situation? Recent changes that has happened in your life that has kind of like stuck in your mind, and you have had to kind of like made little changes in your example behavior or how you were as a person or anything overall. Have you had any recent memories in your mind that
yeah, I have.
or events?
I have few events.
Yeah.
Some of them I cannot tell in front of camera.
Okay.
Some of the.
Yeah.
Some of that I can tell that after my birthday, I would say, before that or before that, and then afterwards especially, I have had this sense of ease, I would say. Ease in the sense of, it is what it is. And what I'm trying to say is that it's been a weird experience. It's been a weird experience that you have this kind of nonchalantness about partners.
Ooh, he cold, bro. Streets cold, baby. Streets cold.
Not in a cold like that you're cold to them, but in a sense of you are almost completely detached to the fact that what happens. I'm talking about the genuine what happens. Because I have been that guy. You think that I just became this virgin guy in front of you? it doesn't work like that. You have to go through a lot of stuff before you get to do this. And basically, when you go through stuff and you learn from them in a hard way, I would say. Not only me, there is all my friends have tasted this kind of
streets are cold, bro.
this kind
Streets are cold.
This kind of experience. It has the change has been that okay, this is this easy now. But now, because it is so easy and because you have complete detachment to it, the want for the mass has disappeared altogether. I'm trying to like sound a virgin by telling something that is not so. Okay, I see what you did there. You're saying it's a cap? You're saying it's a cap?
You know.
Tell me, guys, what you think about this. Is it a cap? Is it a cap?
Yeah. Yep. The complete detachment.
And it didn't happen in a way that I was expecting. It was more when I reflected myself, when I started to talk with myself, soul searching. I asked myself, that, are you okay if this and this and this happen? Actually, truly, are you okay with it? And there was always this little part that was not okay with it. But before my birthday, there was a moment, a discrete moment, where it happened, where I absolutely accepted the fact that if the worst scenario happens, I'm okay.
What it is.
I'm okay with it. If the best scenario happens, I'm okay.
It is what it is.
Like it didn't matter at all.
We got the word. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
And it was what it was.
And it was what it was. So when that happened, also the things changed around me. So now I needed to adapt myself. Not a lot, of course, because a lot of work has been put in, not only in this body, but in this mind. And it has been more now that I need to be more careful with if I get too close, in a sense, or they get too close to me, or with one with whom I'm choosing to do what. Because
Virgin.
This is now a little bit older guy, I'm not old guy, but older soul telling young guys that just because that you can bring home someone or you can go to their house,
Coming from Virgin, you know.
It's not a good idea if they are good people. If they are genuinely good people, don't do it. They don't deserve that. Even if you would give them the best night, whatever you think you can do.
Yo. Yo.
Don't do it, because they are good people and they deserve something that is more meant for them. If you're willing to just, smash and dash. But if you're willing to actually participate in that partnership and they are willing to participate in that partnership, then it's a yes, go. Okay, boss.
Smash and dash, that's crazy, bro.
Smash and dash.
The middle of subject. Yeah. If you're trying to smash and dash, don't do it.
You said recent.
Yeah, recent.
This was this recent change that happened with me.
But what with the change part, in a sense, if we are kind of dwelling on the subject, have you had previously, or was your mindset before what happened recently that you would have smash and dash constantly, or what? Because the point is that it kind of changed from what you were used to, that you kind of had to adapt into it.
Now, maybe if 2 years ago the situation was with the same opportunity that I have, it would be more no, of course I would never do it in a way that is mean. Never in my life I have done something that is so slimy that it leaves a bad taste in their mouth, especially as an adult. As a kid, I cannot say I haven't done bad things, but as an adult, nah. But I wouldn't have maybe considered that, hey, they are a good person, so I will not indulge in that, no matter the circumstances that we have. And it is an interesting feeling. I can say it like this. It is so interesting because so many years has happened the opposite. And now that I truly don't care, it has done the opposite.
Gee, this guy cold.
So, not in a cold way, but even more like, I cannot control this.
The extended question to that would be, did it force you to adapt into that mindset of kind of like not caring, or did you choose yourself
Hold up. This is a good question. This is a good question. Cheers to that.
Because the reason why I asked that is, when we talk about change, you get apologize, my homeboys, but
no worries.
But the reason why I want that extended question is that, of course, a lot of time change happen, and we, in certain situation, we choose to adapt into it. But then there's the situation where you're kind of like forced into change, or of course you can try to dwell in it, but there's some type of force for you to change into it. So in this situation where you kind of like forced to that mindset of not caring to kind of like protect yourself, or was it more of, hey, yo, you know what I've noticed, I gotta go this way, this is my way.
I'll be honest with you, man. The change happened when I started to look like the past results. When I looked at the results, and the result was the same all the time, I said to myself that now, like, I am the type of guy that I want to take full responsibility and full blame everything that happens around me. It's raining, I try to blame myself. I cannot. Like, that's how much I want to take accountability about my life. And now when the roster of failures happened to me, and it was the same, even when the situation was different, the outcome was pretty similar. So I was starting to dwell like, okay, where does this come from? What has happened? Where does it come from? And in a sense, it forced me to become not cold in a sense, not cold, I don't want you to paraphrase him, not cold, but more as to accept that if the worst case scenario happens, you're okay with that. The best case scenario happens, you're okay with that. And when I accepted that okay, I'm okay with these both, it was the moment that something changed around me. So it was more like forced than choosing to have this adaptability for this. But I'm talking about my personal life with my personal situation, where this sort of thing pushed me to become this man. And in this regard, I am better off as a man, because now it's not only about this situation, but I can also be accepting about my family situation, about my friendship situation, about my financial situation, about my health situation, about the situations altogether, out of all aspects in my life. When I accepted the fact that if the worst case scenario can be happening, and I am okay with that, is liberating.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. But I can say this also, Godhood has also helped me with this, because I know for a fact that there are so many things, I would say pretty much everything, that it's out of my control or out of my reach. I have to do my diligence and do my work, choose the right path, but then afterwards, It's not my hands anymore.
Not on my business. Not on my business.
God asked me, what is your plan? I said to him, to follow your plan. That's a good plan.
Amen. Amen. God's plan.
But
God's plan.
you asked great question, because did it force me or it was more adaptability choosing? The conversation skills, for example. You know, I can have a conversation with anyone. Not out of my will. Not out of my
I
will.
don't choose. I just have the skills.
I didn't choose to have this skill, but the need for the skill forced me to become this, that if I don't master this, I cannot survive in this world. So it happened, and then of course when time goes on, I did it as a kid, and time goes on and you dwell on it more, you learn, it has become like a second nature now.
Oh my God, with that. Put in the work.
All I'm saying. And then of course when you find books that are related to that, you then are more intrigued. And it kind of becomes this thing where now you don't think it, that when you meet a person, how you communicate with them. You have done it so, yeah, you have done it so much, and you have seen this. You have seen this happening when you are with me.
I plead the fifth.
Yeah,
I don't associate myself with no.
Do you know? I have researched the origin of what does the plead the fifth mean. Because the Fifth Amendment in America says you have a right to be silenced, right to shut the up. So basically, when you say plead the fifth, you're deciding to keep it silenced.
Yeah, plead my fifth.
Why, bro?
We don't even have fifth, but still, I'm pleading the fifth.
Why, bro?
I don't associate myself. If ever they're gonna use these videos as
evidence,
yeah, I do not associate myself.
Okay.
I plead the fifth.
Alright, bro.
I no snitch.
Okay, bro. So, your questions now, bouncing from me back to you.
God damn the recoil.
You like them recoil, huh?
Hey.
Ladies, I will now sell my brother.
Hold on, you make this. Hold on. Hold a minute. Hold on a minute. Hey, yo. You know the moment when you have your intentions were like pure, but then you realize the way you said it just sounds. Hold on a minute.
No, I said it with a joking manner. I know exactly what I was saying.
Oh my days.
No, ladies, now look how I save you.
Oh,
ladies,
segue.
Listen, if you want a man, a work horse.
Hey, yo, bro, hold on.
If you want a workhorse.
You trying to sound like it's 50s all of a sudden again.
Hold up now. I got this. If a woman doesn't know what is a workhorse, you don't want her. You don't want her. It's not a woman for you. If you want a man who is working hard, if you want a man who is tall, who is handsome, who is black, if you want a man who is loyal, if you want a man who has Christian values deep in his core, if you want a man, our friendship is a testament to loyalty 20 years in.
Can I get an amen?
Amen to that.
Amen to that.
If you want a man who doesn't drink, who doesn't smoke, who doesn't do drugs, if you want a man who's taking care of his family, if you want a man who is simply just a man, he's single now, ladies.
Wait, what?
And I want, now don't get me
I'm
wrong.
sure by God, man. God damn.
Don't get me wrong.
Hey.
I don't want you girls now to be all, no, it was me. No. Slow down. He has love for everybody. He has love for everybody. Every lady out here.
But certain individuals, keep it alive, bro. We don't swing that way.
So we are talking about the good loving woman.
Oh, yeah.
Women who are God Christian and God-driven women.
Because nowadays, there's, we don't swing that way.
Not hoes. They are not women.
Oh, yeah.
right? The hose, they are not wood. They spray everywhere.
Golly.
He's single, ladies, and he's
This
ready.
guy he's doing the live Tinder all of a sudden.
Oh,
right?
yes.
Yo, swipe left,
We
swipe right.
should.
You got.
We should.
Hey, you know,
We should.
only failure is the missed shot. There's no such a thing as fail shot. Only fail shot is the shot that was never taken.
Facts. Facts. My guy, now I already gave you a speech about what kind of man you are.
Only thing I remember from it, black guy. She.
For some ladies, maybe that's enough. Black men don't cheat.
Hey, I don't cheat, man. I don't swing that way, bro.
God Christian.
Loyalty, bro. Keep it up.
God's Christian. So, to this, my question.
Tell him.
How do you see change?
Ooh-wee.
How do you see the change that happens around you? It happens to you. How do you feel about change?
Okay, let me open up how. Let's put them.
I'm gonna take a sip.
Your turn. Well, I want to broaden up the change in itself, because when we talk about change, we might think about the small things that happens around us and so on. But at the same time, there are changes that we're not attached to. For example, when city makes different renovation over here, building something over there, we're not necessarily attached to everything of that. So that's a change that happens around us, but we might not necessarily feel anything or feel that we need to adapt to it. All right, we might see it nowadays more of, the grass is now yellow nowadays, but it doesn't really move me that much. So there's that type of change as well, which I wanted to add. But change to me, well, it kind of goes up to most of the things that you said previously, that change, change is something that is almost guaranteed. It will happen. And it kind of, even that is change.
Yeah.
You go from one form of life to another.
Not like that.
Hey, but it is. Hey, that's the change that we gotta accept. You are kind of like forced to accept.
But yes.
You are kind of forced to accept it.
Yeah.
So change is guaranteed in a sense. And I actually didn't realize it when I was younger. Funny thing is, I knew things change, but I was the type of person that didn't like change that much. I didn't like. It brought up kind of like, I wouldn't say full-on anxiousness, but kind of like
Stressful.
Yeah, stressful feel. Which is, the reason to that is that I tended to attach myself to things.
All right.
Like if we were doing certain patterns, example, we were doing handshake in certain ways, hanging out in certain places and so on, and then we had to change. Woo, that shit, bro. I was like, hey, yo, something ain't right. I felt like something ain't right. Even in certain situation where I used to see neighbor constantly, the same neighbor for some certain period of time, that neighbor moves away. We might not have hanged out or anything, but because I was so used to seeing you, etc., and all of a sudden I see you move away, that also brought up a sense of, God damn, man, change. But then later on in life, I would say I kind of forced myself to learn, and to a certain extent was forced to adapt to the change. Of course, till this day, there's certain things that I might not like that much, but I've kind of forced myself into adapting to it. So, yeah. And it doesn't, to me, have to be anything really that big of a meaningful situation. For example, when we used to be in high school, good times, we were used to it, doing our thing and all that. And then we went to, well, not even high school, when we were in middle school. I was transferring from middle school to high school. Yeah. That was a change in itself. And I was like, shit, man, things need to change and all that, man. What's going on, man? We could be chilling all this time, but now we gotta do this and that. But then when I'll be doing the new thing for a moment, I'm like, ah, this cool too. And so on and so on. That was my personality. But then later on in life, when things come from left and things come from right, hey, God say the plan ain't going, you ain't going by your plan, you're going by my plan. You're kind of like forced into adapting to it, and I've kind of like been into that state nowadays. Kind of like what you said, detaching myself to certain situation where I used to be very attached into. Was it relationship, friendship, or anything? Because funny thing, even a lot of people might think that it's only like with relationships, like romantic relationship, but it actually is in even friendship. Like if I had somebody close in my friendship circle, and that dynamic, it kind of like when we had that disc off for a moment, that was disturbing to me. That was disturbing to me.
Sure.
But kind of was first to adapt to that situation for that certain period of time, and we're good too. We're good now. God bless. We're good now.
Did you hear it? Did you hear it?
Yeah.
Even God knew.
God knew, man. So, yeah, God might tell me, you have certain view of that situation, but that's not the way the situation gotta go. And nowadays, I've kind of been into that, it is what it is.
It is what
Of course, I don't necessarily want to be in that state constantly, like,
for sure.
but it has been the easiest form of, you don't really get yourself into mingle situation of, oh shit, I wanted this to go this way, but she went that way. What am I going to do now? Crisis. I'm more like, hey, if we go that way, it's cool. If we go this way, it's cool too.
And I want to clarify for the viewers, this doesn't mean that you don't try.
Exactly. I got a good example to that actually, because I've tried to, like, when you try to talk to new hyenas.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Alright, shut up, man.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Shut up, bruv, with that bullshit. But when you're trying to talk to new individuals, and there's certain going on, especially in the beginning.
I don't know what you're talking about, bro.
Hey. Like we said, we're practicing our communication. And it goes well, because back in the days when you were talking to individuals, hypothetical individuals, you kind of like automatically, at least for me, it was that I started attaching certain, how would I say, ideas of that person, and kind of like attach myself into them in a sense that which kind of was bad, because when things changed, like example, things didn't work out, it kind of created that small void of what the hell, what the hell. But nowadays, hey, we ain't trying to be toxic. That's not it. This is not it. When we say it is what it is, it's more of like we accept whichever outcome comes, just depending on our situation and how the groove is going.
Yeah.
So if she breaks down right here, it's cool. We got it. If it's fixable, we fix it.
Yes, sir.
If it ain't fixable, it is what it is. That type of mentality. So nowadays, literally, if I'm talking to somebody and they give up the energy,
He's not talking about it now.
I'm just saying hypotheticals. But if I'm talking to somebody,
Because I did all that marketing and now you use it.
hey, yo, man, let me be.
Oh man.
Let me be.
Oh man.
But if we hypothetically talk to an individual and they give off certain energy, of course, I'm going to reciprocate. Yeah, but
Reciprocate, yeah.
yeah. Goddamn, English is so retarded. My bad, but English is retarded. But yeah. And we get the energy matches. Of course, I'm going to put the effort in. But on God, the moment the effort is not out there, bro, who you think I am?
Exactly.
Who you think I am? Shit. It is what it is at that point. It is what it is. And I've noticed, it kind of like is of your energy and kind of puts you in a state of, you're ready for new opportunity in a sense. Of course, it might sound bad, but unfortunately, in our changing world, you kind of have to adapt with it. And yeah, that's that about that situation.
Got you. And I'm gonna ask you the same question. Have you had any recent changes right now? outside of this podcast?
Uh, well, of course, there's constant changes. Nothing way too major, because like I said, there's constantly things moving around me and people moving, for example, away, moving closer, moving here and there, moving to different city, or new jobs and so on. So there hasn't been anything way too major. Only probably major like thing in a sense has been that our homeboy moved to a different city.
Yeah.
That's the only like big major thing that has happened.
That's not recent, but
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Like I haven't had that kind of type of reason. But yeah, the only probably closest big major thing I would say that have been is the thing that happened like a couple of years back.
yeah.
But that was that, in a sense. That was that.
But how much can I ask you? How much do you want to tell?
Hypotheticals.
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 That, of course, it changes any man if that kind of situation.
Toxic, bro. You become toxic.
My
No, I'm just kidding.
question to you is that, what did you learn about yourself?
Sheesh.
Because I know you.
I see.
But did you see what I did there?
I see what you mean.
Because that change was personal,
Oh, that's
right?
Oof.
It was personal. It wasn't
It is.
some brush off or anything. It was very personal to you.
That was actually a really nice question because it goes back to what I asked you previously about were you forced or was it something that you chose?
There you go.
And to that in itself, hypothetical. I was forced, but then the force was kind of diverted into me choosing to also change certain things. So it was kind of like, when you want to go right, but you were pushed to go left.
Yeah.
And then you're at left side, you're like, hey, you know what? In this left side, I'm going to take another left.
Yeah.
I'm going to take another left,
Yeah.
So kind of like choosing to take control on top of
the situation drives you to be there, and you want to be there, but the situation drives you there. So therefore, you're like, I better choose this path, right?
Hey, if I'm forced to this path, let's take this path all the way through. So
Unravel.
Unravel.
I'm gonna take a sip.
So, well, she happened. Of course, like I mentioned before, the attachment as a person, it creates a major void in a sense because now I have to adapt to a big portion of my life, and I'm like, shit. Oh, here we go again. What we gonna do now? And of course, change if you're not good thing about that situation was kind of like forced me back into the adaptability. So I had to go back to the shit changes, but you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna be chameleon with it. And that was something that I could, because I remember even during our hypothetical situation, I was really adaptable to the situation. I adapted really much. But when that hypothetical situation happened, it kind of was lost in between. Right. I was like, oh shit, well, why? I wasn't very adaptive in that situation. But now, I've kind of like went back to the, adapting to the situation. Oh, shit changed. Well, it is what it is. We're going to switch with it. Oh, we were in black today. I like black, but the environment, it is what it is. I got to switch up, So it kind of like forced me to go back to the root of who I am. Choose the bits and pieces that, I saw that was convenient in a sense for my, how would I say it? Well, not survivability, but me moving forward, me growing up. Kind of like what you said before, that every change kind of like pushes you to become better version of yourself.
Yeah.
So I had to adapt to that. And, well, how would I say? There has been good changes and also changes that could have been better, but it's part of the change as well. Because like we said, nothing is still water in a sense. things will move and things will still keep changing. And the effect of it that I've noticed nowadays is the dynamic of with people is that I don't put too much. I put effort, but to extent of how much you mirror it.
You know, to you, it's interesting because when I know you pretty well, you have always been the guy who has the ability to like socialize and talk and all that.
Nah, nowadays,
But
hell no.
I've seen that in you right now, that if we are somewhere that you don't know people, you're very quiet. You don't talk.
And it's cold times. Cold times.
And you know, it's very interesting to see that. Because usually when, of course, now we know.
Back in the days.
Back in the days.
Back in the days.
We know for a long time and we know each other that well. And when we are like together or in a friend group that we know each other, yeah, hey, how you doing, what's up with it? Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, everything's fine.
This nigga just did it.
But then if we go, let's say, somewhere that are... And...
yeah. Social events. You know.
You are forced to engage in these social event circumstances. I think you are not... You may be the least active person.
That's called cold ties, bro.
Streets so cold.
Hey, that's what I was trying to say the moment before you asked the question. The change that I also noticed was the amount of effort I've kind of like, well, I don't know necessarily if this was something that I chose, but it was kind of like trigger in mind that I'm not willing to put too much effort if motherfuckers are not mirroring it.
Yeah.
And for me to start like engaging in situation that I know might not fully be something that will, example, last or build or whatever, I ain't gonna bother just for the sake of talking. And that's that type of mentality that had grown in me, that I'm like, I'm gonna waste time on this motherfucker.
But then, do I understand it well? It happened after that big thing that happened.
Hypothetical.
It happened after that because not the change that happened around you forced you to take that path, but it was more than you chose that path. Like, the situation was like this, and then you wanted to go like this, but the situation forced you to go this way, so you chose to be this way.
Yeah, kind of like it, that's it.
Now, because this triangle happened, it also changed you. And that's why I asked what you learn about it, about yourself.
Ooh.
That's why I said.
Oh yeah, true. That the thing that I learned about myself.
Yeah.
I could be actually colder than I knew I was. I could be cold, motherfucker.
This guy.
I was, but then I realized at the same time that I'm very like, of course, how would I say? Not to sound off, but people who knew me, especially in younger years, oh boy, I was loud as a motherfucker. Like I was, you know, you came to place, you knew where I was. You know how you were there. That guy. When teachers remember your ass from, you know, hey yo, how that motherfucker buggy be doing?
Can I indulge in a story?
Oh yeah, tell him.
This guy was notorious for his loudness. Like, he overflew with it, and it was never like in a bad intention, but of course it disturbed the peace.
Hey, fuck the peace, man. We were living up. Yeah, people were living up, bro.
It got so bad that every time we had the Finnish teacher,
basically studying the Finnish language. It got so bad that she always like reminded, "Hey, Bagit, shush! Hey, Bagit, don't say that. Shut up!" And then once this happened, no joke, happened that Bagit was silent. Like, he didn't say a word. I was on that zen that day.
2 hours straight. We have 45 minutes Like 45 minutes, 15 minutes break, 45 minutes again.
Oh yeah, I may remember because middle school had like shorter. Like,
Yeah,
the
and
classes.
you remember if we had those Finnish classes, we could also potentially, depending on the teacher, we could have like both
Yeah, full together, so we get a longer
90 minutes.
longer break.
And we had that day, 90 minutes straight, but he didn't say one word. The class was rowdy. She shouts, "Hey, Bucky, shut up!" We all turned around like,
Nigga who? Nigga who? Hey, you gotta tell them boys, man. Your guy was literally sitting like this in the table. You know, I don't know. I was thinking about quantum math or whatever, quantum physics. But my ass was out there. You know, I was thinking about deep thoughts.
I'm telling you, he was quiet.
Just imagine, the day you chose to be peaceful, not disturb anybody or anything, and you hear your ass being called for being not loud. How? How? Hey, but hey, that was that sauce, you know, because that's how you knew that your boy was active. Because the days then when I was quiet was the days that people were disturbed.
Yeah.
That something was wrong.
Yeah.
But nowadays, that's pretty much my everyday state. Because you know the idle routine and so on, and then the events, and also back to that. The reason why I would say I turned into more of a not interested to socialize that much wasn't the event in itself, but things that happen around it as well. So my dynamics with, example, certain people that I thought were like friends or so on, so on. I was like, hold on for a minute. I know I got this many snakes around me. Like, what the hell? Like, hey, bro, like, especially not even just my situation, hypothetical, but situation around us as well. Like, you know, certain individuals and so on. Like, when you saw things from third perspective on other people's side, you're like, yo, motherfuckers can be cold, you know. You kind of like started being small, a little of, you know, let me mind my own business, because...
Brother, how can you call yourself a friend if a moment you have a girlfriend, you don't hear from that again?
Hey, those were ghosts.
I'm calling out. I don't care.
Those were ghosts, bro.
Like, how can you call yourself a friend?
Hey, those were the ghosts, you know. Hey.
Listen, we had few guys.
Woo! Those disappeared.
Not just few. We had several guys who were, hey, what's up, man? How you doing? What's up, bro? Da. Like, he was the best of the best. Then he got a girlfriend.
The nigga was gone.
And the moment you knew already, if he don't show for 3 days straight, you knew that he has a girlfriend, and you don't hear from him for months.
Hey, those certain individuals. Hey, don't get it wrong. Don't get it wrong. You know, anybody who goes into a relationship, of course, your time becomes limited to a certain extent. But you know, certain individuals took it to the extent of not even being visible in any outcome.
That's what I'm saying.
Like any event that we had.
If you're in a serious relationship, first of all, high school relationship, dumb. But if you're in a serious relationship, of course you don't have a same amount of time as when you are single. That's normal. But the fact is that we don't hear from you for months. Like you said, disappeared altogether. And then you call yourself a friend? What kind of friend is that?
Hey, man, they were tweaking, bro. Man, they were tweaking. Hey, yo, bro, you coming to play basketball? Yeah, yo, sorry, Cam, man.
They try to be discreet.
I'm busy.
I'm busy. What? Okay, bro, I see you.
I see you. You smashing, huh? Sorry, Cam, right now. I got walk my dog. You ain't got no dog. Still I gotta walk the dog.
I gotta walk the dog.
Hey, some bullshit like that. Hey, but those individuals, man, mind yourself. You get into a relationship, don't forget your homeboys, don't forget your homegirls. Hang out still, you know. Of course, your time will be limited, but still, you know. Don't forget your other relationships as well.
But that's changed as well, right?
That's changed for fact. And the reason why I mentioned the circles around us as well, because, bruh, you know, when you see your homeboy getting, you know, backstab heavy, and then you're like, man, that could be me too.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
who, bro? The moment that I start seeing how cold people can be in this place, you had to adapt to that. That's where I went kind of like off. That could be also the reason why I'm not really attaching myself into random conversation, because I'm like, yeah, I knew people that were supposed to be very 10 toes down, but niggas turned out to be something else. Niggas turned out so. Why am I necessarily? Of course, if somebody puts effort into our conversation, of course I'll give the equal treatment.
Yeah.
Equal treatment, but nah, man, I waste the energy to randoms nowadays. But to that, I want to segue back to your ass.
Okay, I see you. I see you.
You're here throwing questions like
You think them Jedi mind tricks don't work? Okay, I see you.
My guy
Let's
was
go.
living on like it's a free rent or some shit, man.
I got this.
To you, I want to ask: has there been any? It doesn't have to be recent. Can be even oldest as how you have existed in this planet.
Got you.
Experience or event that was most shocking to you, that you haven't really, you have or you haven't adapted from,
The most shocking.
or something that was so heavy that it's still in your mind to this day. Could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. It doesn't really.
Yeah. I'm trying to think something that was very heavy. Well,
And of course, something that you can talk about. And
well, the first lady that I had,
which one?
don't do me like this, bro.
Which one, man? I know which one you're talking
Don't
about.
do me like that.
What's going on? The street's cold, bro.
The one that hypothetically we
Hypotheticals.
a few years back and forth, and then it
Hypotheticals.
hypothetically
Hypotheticals.
it was just, and it was heavy because for me the reciprocation was zero, but not from my part. It was from her part. That's how I saw it. And then the worst part of it was that when if we spent time together, you could see that we forget the essence of time.
Don't remind me. Good times. Good times.
You get what I'm saying? Like,
Good times.
but there are moments when you meet somebody. It doesn't even need to be in a romantic sense. Me and you.
Well,
Saturday we went for a swim, and then we went to eat.
Oh yeah, Baga was almost late from his meet, but he's part of the team.
We went for 4-5 hours. It felt like
for
it felt like 20 minutes. 20 minutes. So you forget the essence of time. And when that happens, it means that not only you have good time, but also with that person you have a good connection in a different.
Oh yeah, now that you mentioned, actually look at the clock, I was like,
Yeah,
shit.
I know.
Shit.
I know. And with her I had that. Every time I spent time with her, it felt like time is just going by so fast. But then if that reciprocation doesn't happen, and especially in my case when I saw it as I'm a human too, it hurt me very deeply because I wasn't used to have, in a sense, that low of a treatment as a man. Until I realized, hypothetically, until I saw and realized I was not even the worst case scenario. There were a bunch of guys. I'm talking about, I can name every single one. My closest friends. I can name my closest family members. I can name endless guys who had maybe the same exact situation or even worse, where something happened that was not necessary, and that was very disturbing for your character, for yourself. And it was heavy at first, but then, and it took me time because when there are many things, of course I cannot talk about those things, but there are many things that happen at the same time and it was inside of me as well. You could see why she also had that feeling, okay, this is not good. I can see that from her perspective. I can understand that. I can conceptualize it. And it was always the case, or for me, it's always the case that how that other person is seeing things. You get inside their mind, in a sense, in their skin. We can talk about nothing like that, bro. In their skin, like you see things the way they see things, and you realize that even when they treat you bad, they didn't do it in the sense that they are a bad person, but they did it in the sense that that's how they looked at it at that time. And of course, it can hurt you as a human being. But the fact remains, unfortunately, that was like a big hit for me, especially for my ego. Of course, as a child, you cannot handle those things. But then when you grew up and you realize things and you do the self-reflecting and you do the soul searching, you realize that, okay, what happened in these things that pushed you in this position, and then that position forced you to change, and the situation changed around you. So things happen. That's why I said the roster, that every time there was the same exact result, of course you go look at it like, okay, there's something off about this.
Let me read around what's going on.
Let me see what's going on. Was there something I could have done more? No. It wasn't. I could do nothing more for that situation. It means that I don't have any control over it. It still happened, the worst case scenario. So therefore, I don't have any control over it. It is what it is, bruh. And that was very heavy, but then I am thankful for it because it also shaped me. It forced me to change. Usually change, especially pain is a good motivator, in a sense, a good way of pushing you, and a good way of changing you. Pain usually is the one that pushes you to a brink of you being better, especially as a man. Pain shapes you. It shapes you. That's why in this channel and outside of this social media, YouTube, internet bullshit, I have always said a real man cannot call themselves a man if they haven't experienced heartbreak.
Somebody go catch a, somebody's gonna beef.
If they haven't experienced heartbreak, if they haven't experienced empty stomach, and if they haven't experienced empty pockets,
broke boy.
I don't see how you can call yourself a man.
Broke boy, he said,
Like, because...
Hey, what you mean? So you telling me, who was this nigga? Bruce Wayne ain't no man? He was a billionaire. He was
heart was broken.
True. So some of those gotta happen.
He had to train, like empty stomach, for example.
But he still had that.
But the money part was...
So, but yeah, I agree on that part of that. Heartbreak will shape and mold you into something different, completely different than what you used to be. And of course, usually, if you have that mentality, it will tend to improve you into a better person.
Yeah.
You know, example, a lot of guys, the ways that,
if I can disagree with you on this, maybe completely change, no, but it will mold you for better or for worse.
Exactly.
But completely change...
Not necessarily, no, of course you will still be you to a big extent, but certain traits, certain way you view world, certain way you view people, for example, will change, and the way you actually handle issues later on will also change, because that was something that I've realized now. You know, problematic situation happens. What you gonna do? You ain't gonna cry about it. You know, you gotta do what you gotta do. If you can do something, you gotta do. But if you can't do something, it is what it is.
I was hypothetically, I was hanging around with one of these beautiful ladies, and she said to me, she looked me dead in the eyes, and she said to me that I have this sense, this feeling about you, that no matter what happens, no matter the difficulties, no matter the situation, it's gonna be okay.
Ooh, I was like,
She said to me,
like I said,
and then I mentioned this to one of my colleagues, also a female. I mentioned this, and she said that, yeah, that's right. You have this sense, feeling that it's gonna be okay.
I got this.
When I am with him, it's going to be okay, no matter what.
Yeah, man.
Puru. I mentioned this exact conversation to Puru yesterday. He also said the same thing.
It's gonna be all right.
When I am with you, especially when we did the group projects,
It's good. We're gonna be good.
he said that you were the kind of guy. I had the feeling that if a plan A don't work, the plan B will work. If a plan B don't work, the
We
C
got
will
plan
work.
C.
If the C, the D.
Oh, well,
And
well.
if the D doesn't work, they improvise. But we will do this. We will manage this. And you said that, how do you handle things if something like this happened? You think that my heart has not been broken?
Jeez. Everybody gotta take that L once.
You get what I'm saying?
You gotta take that. Ooh. Hey, but well, you take L one time, you take L two times. You know what you gotta do then? Put that W.
Put the W, exactly.
Put that W, bro.
Exactly.
Gotta take that win home once.
Exactly. Did you have any points anymore?
No. That was the thing. So
Now, the same question. But I'm gonna ask you something a little bit different.
oh, he's gonna shave it. Shave here.
Ah,
Let me see what you got.
I got you. You mentioned that something heavy that changed. When was the moment for you that the change happened? What pushed you to say that, okay, I also need to change? Because you kind of mention it a little bit, but I want to be more clarified in a sense that when something happened in your life, what pushed you to also change yourself? Because for a lot of people, and I know this for personal experience myself, you can change things around your house. I can take these pictures off, I can put new paintings over here, I can throw this chair out, but changing yourself, your inner self, is difficult. It's hard.
It's work.
It's work.
It's work.
Soul work is slow work.
Ooh.
So my question is, when situation happened, it changed. What forced you to also change yourself? This is getting too deep.
Ooh, man, that's tough. That's tough. Ooh, how would I say? The moment that you kind of like start thinking about, oh shit, I need to change myself as well, is when you look at the mirror. The person that you see in the mirror is somebody that you don't fully recognize anymore. It's the moment that you start thinking about shit.
How do you come to that point? Because I think a lot of people don't have mirrors in their home.
Ooh.
You have seen that.
Boys, we don't fuck with boys.
No, not only, but not in a physical sense. But when they look at themselves, they're like, nah, I'm good.
It's up here because, of course, especially if you already have that mentality of you want to be better, improve yourself, and so on and so on. And let's say you have been in certain state of mind for a certain period of time, and you've been cool with it. You've been living it up, and you have that little shake that kind of puts everything into a, let's say, a blender, mix it up, everything, and then you're kind of like lost because you're kind of used to being in certain state of mind, and now you're kind of like lost. Like, hold up, how should I think? Because the way I was thinking before wasn't successful based on the event that has happened. Because that's how your mind tend to trigger of. I went based on plan A, and result was this. Okay, so if I continue with plan A, result might be this again. So what I gotta do to switch it up? Those kind of thoughts. But going back to what I said earlier about when you look at the mirror and you don't fully recognize yourself, you're like, kind of what you mentioned just a moment ago, that back in the days you were, mouth was running, you were loud and all that. And that was the first thing that I recognized about myself, that I don't like to run my mouth that much anymore. Like, I like to keep things to myself, and I like to hang around. Of course, even during those times, I like to be with myself. But at the same time, I was very I we go outside, we were wilding. But nowadays, I'm like,
don't put me like this.
it is what it is. You put it. You open the book. We gotta go through the chapters.
Hey.
So I noticed that I don't, example, like to do certain things same way. I don't like to talk certain way. I don't like to put some certain type of energy, and that was like, oh shit, this nigga ain't the same no more. Like, I was like, this nigga ain't the same no more. Cause I even told a homeboy that I've noticed even on the way I construct my sentences, there has been small changes in them, and that was something that I kind of like noticed it myself. I was like immediately like, hold up. I didn't think like that. I didn't like, how would I say, articulate myself like that.
Yeah.
And those were like on a good and then in a worse part of itself. So, you look in the mirror, you're like, shit, this is bad. This is bad. Like, I don't know you, you don't know me. Kind of like, when you have that own talk, kids, remember, if you wanna, you gotta talk to yourself. You gotta have conversation. If you need to talk a lot, talk to yourself.
Yes, sir.
So I like, man, shit, man. I don't know you. You don't know me. What the hell is going on? Like, we need to grab into something. We gotta, gotta protect ourselves. We gotta do something. And bro, the gym was heavy. The gym was heavy. And also I started reading a lot, especially in like early years. Or at least a couple of years of that time, and absorbing as much knowledge as I could, because I was like, I'm trying to mold another character, because in the end of the day, we are all playing some type of character.
Yeah.
And I was like, the character that I'm in right now, ain't it? This ain't it.
This ain't it.
Yeah, because as you mentioned before, when you get your heart broken and all that, bro, you is a mix of things. You become the things that you didn't even know you were, those things. And that's when you actually start thinking about, oh shit, this ain't me.
Yeah.
This ain't me. So yeah, I started adapting certain behaviors that I didn't, do that much, or was doing less. Or, for example, I used to do, but then certain period of time I started doing less. So I was like, gotta switch it up, gotta change the character. And try out another character, and that's how I kind of like ended up in the situation that I'm in right now. That this is a different character that I'm playing right now, and yeah, I started taking life as a video game, as a GTA, not literally, but as a GTA. That you mold the character as you want it to be, and if something don't fit or don't play as you like, switch it up.
Do you know how my boy likes to play games in video games? He puts the hardest difficulty.
Game is game. Ooh, don't mention me. Hey, I don't know, y'all who play Elden Ring, Dark Souls, or shit like that. I gotta respect your asses, man. Ooh. Like, oh my gosh. Hey, but the reason why I like to play those games in such a hard difficulty, because a lot of people are like, why not go the simple way? Of course, you go with the easy way, you get the story faster, and you get to finish the game faster. But when you play the hard mode, the feeling of achievement is such a...
Yeah.
Woo! But the cutscenes in itself feels like a... Woo!
Victory. But the reason why I said it is because if you choose the hardest difficulty, you get also the biggest experience.
And the reward should also be bigger.
So therefore, life is the same way. If you choose the hardest battles, going to the gym, talking to the girl that you have been nervous about for 3 months, choosing to cook for yourself good meals, those are hard choices. But you do those things and you get more experience.
Exactly. And especially when you do those things that you are not comfortable with. I don't mean by, doing the things, your morals are against or something like that. But, things that you are not used to doing, like trying new things, like in a sense of picking a new hobby and so on and so on. Kind of with the gym that you mentioned. And, hey, boy, I'm telling you, you just, it's life is kind of like a puzzle. There's pieces that fit temporarily, but in order for you to connect a new piece, you have to switch the previous piece, and that's how it has been going in a sense. Of course, I still feel like I'm in a state of not fully developed in a way,
Of course.
but in a state of progress.
Of course.
And like we mentioned before, nothing is permanent. Everything changes constantly.
Yes, sir.
And
Yes, sir.
that's that.
What do you say? Is it? It is.
It is.
Any last words, my brother?
There's no such a thing as last word, but the word that I'm gonna tell right now,
Let's go.
is that if you got anything out of today's topic or whatever we were blabbing about, it's pretty much that don't take anything as permanent or something that will be how it has been forever, because it will forcibly change. If not by, let's say hypothetically, you were lucky enough that it will not change until you die, the death will be at the final change that we will have.
Absolute.
Pretty much. So there will be a forcible change in your life, and you could allow the change to, how would I say, disfigure your character or make you into something that you do not know, which is usually a bad thing, because then you will have the chaos, anxiety, whatever. You're kind of lost with your thoughts and your purpose. You try to, like Ideal mentioned before, allow it to create. How would I say? Build your character. Allow it to teach you. Allow the change to teach you to some extent, and allow yourself to adapt to change, because of course change might always feel as a bad thing in the beginning, but 9 out of 10 times it usually will lead you to being a better person.
Yes.
Or at least different person than what you were. And at minimum, it will give you some type of experience. Kind of what we mentioned before about the route thing. You're used to take the same route.
Yep.
Of course, let's say the route changes and you have to take a different route. In a good, in a worse, it might be a longer route, let's say hypothetically. But at minimum, you get to experience a new route. And at best, you get to experience a new, beautiful scenery, whatever it is. And that's pretty much how life it is, You have a beautiful thing right now and you might not have it tomorrow, and you have to go with it. That's why we say appreciate the present and cherish it and enjoy the moment, because that's the most important thing. Enjoy the moment, because the moment is not forever and it might float away tomorrow. And then tomorrow you have to adapt to what tomorrow gives.
Yeah.
And that's how life goes. And inevitable might happen. And you gotta adapt to that as well. That's why funny thing. That's why nowadays when I hear about deaths, I'm I don't know if I'm cold, but nowadays it doesn't really fully move me. Of course, I already know automatically that the only death that will like fully move me would, God forbid, would be my mom's.
Yeah.
But everything else, I have more been like, she happened. It's part of the journey. We'll all have our time the same way as whoever left right now.
Yes,
and
sir.
God bless the souls. And
Yes, sir.
if there's afterlife, some of y'all might believe it, but if there's afterlife, we meet there, and that's that.
Amen.
That's one way of how I've kind of like accepted change.
Yeah.
Before I did it, back then when I was younger, that's were kind of some shit, man. Oh shit,
We gonna die.
we gonna die. Oh man, this person no exists no more. But you know, nowadays I'm more like shit. You know, he had a good journey.
Yeah.
You know, peace to him. You got to log out. We'll log out after you in our time.
Yes, sir.
And that's that. But yeah, except adapt to your changes. Adapt to your changes, and that's how you're gonna have a decent life, and you will be most efficient person that you could be. Adapt to a change. But I have blabbed enough, been preaching like I'm a preacher boy.
Preach, my brother.
But
Preach.
to you, my homeboy, appreciate the views that you have given on your own experience, and that you are willing to be vulnerable as well about your own experience. That's something, you know, I bet some viewers as well appreciate.
Yeah.
So I would like to ask you as well, do you have a last final thoughts or opinions or whatever you want to mention out?
I don't have it. Of course, we cannot like discuss openly everything, because there are some things that we don't like to put there, and then they will be permanently forever in the internet. But I want everybody to like kind of get a view of what has happened and learn from it, from our experience, or just enjoy it. There's a saying in my country that goes, today you have it, tomorrow you don't have it. Meaning that you can have it today, everything. Everything. I'm talking about everything. Good health, good money, good food, good cars, good family, good everything. Tomorrow, when you wake up, you don't have none of them. It's still okay. It's still okay. Like I said, the worst case scenario, you didn't choose that worst case scenario, but it dwell upon you. It's okay. Listen to this guy, what he said, because as you can see, I didn't market him for no reason.
Oh, shit.
There's a reason why I can say with confidence. With confidence, I can say that this man is a good man. And I appreciate you as well for keep doing this no matter what.
Game is game.
Game is game.
Gotta give it 100. Gotta give it 100.
Game is game. So, with that note, I want to thank also the viewers. Today was a little bit interesting episode. Can I say it like this?
You know, that's how, you know, you just have to brain fog for a moment and think about new episode idea, and
that's how it goes.
that's how we go.
And I appreciate you all for listening to the podcast, not just this episode, but for all the episodes that you have listened or watched. And you know what we like to say to you for the end. Like, comment, and subscribe. You know the buttons where they are.
Somewhere along the line.
You know where they are. And I hope you guys to see you in the next one. Peace.
Chee! Put that work.